is up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. This show, obviously, like every show, is brought to you by the fine folks at Quick Trip. Look what I can do now. But Quick Trip, they got it's a great spot to get your lovely lady a meal on the way home. Get you some chicken, get you some macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, whatever you want. But big shout out to Quick Trip for sponsoring the show. I have a fun one today, people. I have a fun show. I got Daniel Zillmer from PackersHistory.com stopping by, talk a little bit about about all the wide receiver talk. We'll get into that, and then Josh Moser from formerly from Fox 11 in Green Bay, now the big Miami man. He's going to stop by again. We're going to talk some football. It's going to be an NFL type of show, like it always is. I don't know why I said that, but let's just bring in Daniel Zillmer here. Got your little applause there. So how you been, man? First of all, we haven't talked in a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. I've been good, running around like crazy. Got that vaccine coursing through my veins, so feeling good.
All right, dude. I like it. I'm just checking out the comments here. Mark's in the house. What is up, Mark? Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for interacting with the show. Makes the show a whole lot better when people are dropping some comments over here. But yeah, so one thing I want to talk about, all right, that everyone's been talking. Who's the, I forget the name now. I should have had this. The wide receiver from New England that just got.
Well, the all-time great Julian Edelman.
Yeah, course. Julian Edelman. I don't know how I forgot his name. That's what everyone's been talking about. It won't stop talking about. He's a Hall of Famer. Talking about, and like people need to understand that you can be a very, very good player and not be a Hall of Famer. Like you could be like the Hall of Fame to me should be like, can you tell the story of the NFL or at least your team, but it should be the NFL without mentioning you. And like Julian Edelman, I think you can. Like if you're just gonna give guys, put them in the Hall of Fame because they got a bunch of rings, and there's a lot of New England Patriot players that got multiple rings. So what are your thoughts on that, first of all, before we jump onto this topic here?
Yeah, for sure. It's just utter. It's so ridiculous. It's one of those things like, NFL Twitter has to lose its collective mind. Like, every offseason, about once a month about some stupid topic. And this is the one. But what I like about it is it's kind of shifting everyone's focus. Like it's kind of got over talking about Edelman for the most part, except for people from New England. And everyone's like, well, if we're talking about the Hall of Fame, let's talk about some guys that actually deserve it. You know what I mean? So that's been kind of nice to see.
Yeah, because there's a lot of players, a lot of former Packers, a lot of different teams who guys that should be in the Hall of Fame. I want to bring up one right now, right here. I made this tweet today that if we're going to argue about wide receiver getting to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, let's talk about Sterling Sharp, because Sterling Sharp, like his career was obviously cut short. Most Packer fans know. I think most NFL fans know. But like he did great things. Like Leroy Butler, someone throw in the comments too. These are all guys that deserve it. But since we're talking about wide receivers,
yeah,
like Sterling Sharp is way beyond Edelman. Like in every fact. Like I'm not a stat guy. I know that you are a little more than me. So. How first of all, tell people who don't know, which I think most people do, but how great was Sterling Sharp?
Yeah, Sterling Sharp was like a revelation. He, in my opinion, he was one of the key players that kind of brought the winning culture back to Green Bay. I mean, I think that's a big part of his legacy that is overlooked. Is just he kind of brought a swagger and a winning attitude to Green Bay with how dominant he was. But I mean, you look at the stats like. In 92, he set the all-time record for catches, 108, and then the very following season he broke his own record and put up 112. And like in back-to-back seasons, like that doesn't happen. And meanwhile, Edelman, I think his career high in touchdowns was 7. He scored in one season. I mean, it's such a joke.
Yeah, but I totally agree. And like I see. Mark saying here, Tom Crabtree. First of all, Tom Crabtree should be in the Hall of Fame, all right? My guy. No, but yeah, I think if Sterling Sharp would have had if he got drafted right before, I mean, and not got hurt,
Mm-hmm.
But even at the same spot, but not got hurt. Or if he came in at the same time Favre came in, like
Yeah.
what if him and Favre had a whole career together? Like, dude, like Sterling Sharp, you'd be talking about him just like people talk about Jerry Rice. Like,
No doubt. Like
ridiculous.
And you think about how many rings they would have won. Like, talk about how dynamic he was. He imagine what he would have brought to those mid '90s teams. I mean, oh
yeah, like I always think about this a lot about how different those '90s teams could have been, and you could say this about any franchise, any like decade, but like if the Packers would have drafted Barry Sanders instead of going Manwich, can't say his name. But like if they would have, or Troy Aikman or whatever, they wouldn't have maybe had Favre. Because if you have Barry Sanders and you're smart, you try to build that line, you try to build, you be a running game and just have a quarterback that doesn't do stupid stuff. The line can figure that out. But like there's so much different. But like, yeah, if Sterling Sharp would have been in there, I don't know how it would have changed, but like the offense would have been so explosive. Like what they had, it would have just been ridiculous.
When you think about all the things that him and Favre would have done together and what they did do together, but what's amazing and what people need to realize is that Sterling Sharp led the league in receptions before Favre even got to Green Bay. Like he had your favorite, the Magic Man, throwing to him, and he caught 90 balls in his second season. Like he wasn't a product of Favre. He was already a legend, building a legend, and then Favre came along and kind of took it to a new height. But he was great without Favre too.
Yeah, because a lot of guys talk about a lot of guys like Javon Walker, and I actually saw that you tweeted something. Let me throw this up here.
Sure.
This is like all of like the wide receivers, like the great ones in Packers history. And I know that I think you wrote something up at PackersHistory.com, right, about this.
Yeah.
So everyone go to PackersHistory.com. But yeah, dude, like the Packers have had some great wide receivers in their day, but they're not all Hall of Famers. Even like the really good ones. Like, do you consider Donald Driver NFL Hall of Famer?
No, he's the Hall of Very Good. He's if there was a Hall of Fame for fan favorites, he's first ballot. He's one of my absolute favorite players of all time, but he's not a Hall of Famer. It's just the way it goes.
And I actually agree because I know. That's what I say is like when you could be very good, you could be a fan favorite. And Donald Driver was fantastic. Like, he was such a good wide receiver. He was so fun to watch. But yeah, to be in the Hall of Fame, like you have to be like the best at your position. Like, and not that I'm not sure like who was playing. He had a lot of competition, like talking about who's the best, like while he was playing. But he had longevity. Like he was good with. That's what I was mentioning. Like guys like Javon Walker. And even Greg Jennings did very well when they had a Hall of Famer thrown to him.
Yeah.
When they moved on. That didn't happen. And Sterling Sharp, like you said, he was good with Don Mikowski. He would have been good no matter who was throwing the ball.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys. I think Jordy we never really got a chance to see because by the time he moved on, he was already kind of old, and I don't think that offense was based around him.
Yeah.
I think Devontae Adams is another guy.
Yeah, I mean, Jordy Nelson's kind of like the ultimate overachiever. Like, I think he put up 69 touchdowns in his career. Like, it's pretty freaking incredible. But again, he's not a Hall of Famer. He was never even All Pro. You know what I mean? That's what Adams is the best of this whole bunch, obviously that Rodgers has ever thrown to by a mile. But you think about how good Adams is. Sterling Sharp was much better than that. It's crazy.
Yeah, because like with Devontae Adams, like we'll see. I think Devontae Adams is gonna have an amazing career. Hopefully, is in Green Bay. Cause I know a lot of people are talking about that. People get bored talking about. But we'll move on to that a little bit. I want to talk about that. But Devontae Adams has something like special. Like he could end up being one of Sterling Sharp. Like I've been arguing with people on Facebook, not in my feed, but like people are talking about it like ESPN, and I just troll. I get on there and I start trolling them. But yeah, dude, Sterling Sharp, I think is the most underrespected, underappreciated, not really by Packer fans. I think most Packer fans, especially old people like us, we know, even most of the young people know, because I scream it all the time. Like I can't say it enough, like how great Sterling Sharp was, and him in the Hall of Fame.
The best thing that I can say about him, my favorite stat that we that at Packers history that we've put out before, and we put it in an article a long time ago, and is that from 92 to 94, when him and Jerry Rice were both in their primes, like both were in their absolute prime, Sterling Sharp had more touchdowns and more receptions than Jerry Rice from 92 to 94. They were going head to head. They both had Hall of Famers throwing to him. They both were like the focal point of their offense, and Sharp outperformed Rice. And we were robbed of another 5 years of that. Just imagine if he would have outperformed. I mean, Rice was a little bit older, but imagine another 5 years of Sterling. It's he was that good. I'm talking top 10 talent all time at his position.
Yeah, because Jerry Rice played for like 50 years.
Yeah.
And I got no hate for Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice, like, dude, I always say Jerry Rice is where the word GOAT got founded.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I was a kid growing up, when people said GOAT, there was no argument, there was no conversation about it. It was Jerry Rice. I think that word was invented for him. Like
he paired that elite level of play with the longevity in a way that no one has before, and probably no one will. I mean, you have a 20-year career like that. That's you get some credit.
Yeah, but most definitely. So, like what I was talking about earlier, like everyone's like freaking out right now, with the Aaron Rodgers contract. They're talking about, oh, he's going to be gone after this season, which with Rodgers, I understand like why people are going to talk. He's the contract situation, but every year it's something with Rodgers. But then they start throwing Davante Adams in there, saying, well, Davante Adams, they're not going to sign him. Like, dude, like people think that they're just going to let Rodgers go, then they're going to let Davante Adams. Like, they're just going to fold up. And I hear Jair, they're talking about, well, they're not going to pay him. Like, dude, that they're going to pay these guys. Maybe not all of them, but I don't know like what's going to happen because I'm like no expert. But they're going to try to bring Davante back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't want Rodgers to move on. I mean, that's the prerequisite to this point. But imagine that the Packers do move on. They trade him. They get a couple assets. Now it's the Jordan Love era. Are you people serious? They think that, hey, rookie or not rookie, but first year quarterback. We also got rid of the best receiver in the league. Sorry. What a joke. Like, no, they're not going to treat their new quarterback like that. Like Davante and Jair are locks to be on this team for the next few years. I mean, absolute locks in my mind.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And I think with Rodgers, I actually don't know because like I always like try to defend the Packers and like, no, they got a plan.
Yeah.
Like, more like if I see, I'm almost like getting sucked into it because I try to be like, there's no way they'd be dumb enough to let Rodgers go like early. But like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know, like what I don't know, like what they're thinking. Like if they're thinking that they can redo it next year, and maybe the Packers and Rodgers had those conversations, but when Rodgers speaks about it, it doesn't seem like he knows. So I'm not sure that they have had those conversations.
Yeah, and I think he loves the intrigue too. He loves people. I mean, not in a bad way, but he likes people talking about him. I mean, he's the host of Jeopardy. I think that's on right now. Like he likes people looking at him. He likes people talking about him, and not in like it's not all ego. He doesn't mind it. Nothing bothers him anymore. So I think they'll work. Yeah, there he is.
So have you watched Jeopardy? Have you seen him? Like,
yeah.
How do you rate him?
I think he's been very good. I got it to be honest. I haven't watched any of the other guest judges. I didn't watch Katie Couric. I didn't watch Ken Jennings. If he's even gone, I don't even know. But Rodgers was really good.
Yeah, dude. I think I didn't watch a ton because I'm not of before because I'm not a big Jeopardy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not smart enough. When I watch that show, I feel very, very stupid. I saw a clip though that they were throwing up about who was this 60s team in the Midwest?
Yeah,
won all these championships and they didn't know. And then he asked a baseball question, and they knew like, oh, that you know.
Yeah, so, you knew that one.
He's showing because I'll say it's because I saw a lot of people talking smack about Rodgers, saying like just random Jeopardy people in their comments, maybe not football fans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he doesn't have personality, this and that, dude. I think Rodgers is killing it. I think he's great on Pat McAfee. He's great on
Oh
Jeopardy.
yeah.
He has that it to be in front of a camera, and dude, I think he's absolutely killing it.
Right. And that's just his personality too. Like, think how much better he got at being the quarterback. You know what I mean? That's how much better he would get at Jeopardy too. He'd be a lot better in year 3, 4, and 5 than he is in his first freaking week. So you know he'd get better.
Oh yeah, dude, that's the thing. Like with Rodgers, like with any quarterback, I think whenever they do something, they plan. They're like they're watching film. That's just like in them. I don't think you can get to this level being a quarterback. Like Peyton Manning, you always see like all the talk about the film room and all that. So it sounds like Rodgers did the same thing preparing for Jeopardy. Right? He was watching film, seeing how Alex Trebek acted after a wrong question, like just trying to, I don't think copy him, but like see how it's done by a pro.
Yeah,
no doubt he could do it.
Yeah, to honor him, you know what I mean? Like he took that pretty seriously, you know what I mean? And I love the parallel though between him like learning from Favre and then watching tape and learning from Trebek and then putting his own spin on it. Like, it's just funny. The dude's he's the most different dude in the NFL is Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. Like, that dude's brain is just different.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because to me, Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem like a lot of the other quarterbacks. Like,
No.
but people like to call him a diva, or to call him like, if you don't like someone, you're gonna find things and try to twist them to, like, just like Brady. A lot of people say, I actually like Brady. I like people don't like when I say it, but like, he just seems like he has fun, and I think it's the same thing with Rodgers. Like, they're just having fun. Like, we're even on the field, they're laughing. Come out and said, like, defensive players that come out and said they don't like playing Rodgers because they'll laugh at him after like he slings it past them and does something. He's having fun. He's having fun at Jeopardy. He has fun on Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
He takes everything so serious. So, like, when everyone's talking about all this drama, like every year, I think he just sits back and laughs. Like you said, he likes seeing himself on NFL Network and losing their mind about what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. He just fuels that fire a little bit and then sits back and watches idiots like us talk about it.
That's exactly what it is. So this is actually a good question. I'll probably bring this up with Moser when he comes on too. But if the Packers OTAs get canceled, like the other teams are doing, I seen the NFLPA put out a thing. Will the players' workout bonuses come of the cap? Like, I'm not sure how workout. Do you know a lot about cap situation?
No, I don't. I'm not sure how they would make sense of that, but you'd think they'd have a contingency plan, in place for the money side of it. I don't see, this is the thing about me. I don't get too hung up on the money side on much of any issues, because they always figure it out. Every year people are like, they have no money. And then every year they figure it out. So, I'm sure it'll be all right.
I actually don't get worked up at all about the salary cap, because first of all, I don't understand it completely. So I go on Twitter and I follow people.
Yeah.
And I read like what they're talking about, and hopefully, like, soon I'm gonna ask one of those guys to come on the show, try to explain it to me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, for me, it's like Einstein said, why do I need to memorize these formulas? Why would I memorize them when they're in a book I can open? You know what I mean? So why do I need to know everything about the cap when I can just go to someone who's an expert in it?
Well, exactly it, dude. That's why I have you on to talk about like all this Packer history stuff, that the shows that we've done, because like you have to know everything. There's people there for that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone has their niche,
I'm gonna just check out some of these comments here. But yeah, like what everyone is saying, because we were talking about with the Rodgers controversy, it's just relaxed. Like, and with these OTAs, I'm gonna talk to Moser about that, and he'll probably know a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
But, the same thing happened last year because of COVID. I think this year is kind of the same thing. The players are saying, we don't want to go to the stadium. We want to do it on our own. And I think they probably just want to do that just for themselves, but they're just using that.
Yeah. Why not? If you can work from home for a couple extra days a year, I mean, most people are going to kind of jump on it. So,
Yeah, and then it worked out fine last year. The players, they're practicing. They're not all on vacation. I mean, you might see them on the Instagram story taking a week or two over there, and they're at a beach somewhere. But like, even on vacation, I think they're watching film. I've seen a lot of players like they're on the beach, but they're on the laptop and they're watching film, or they're doing whatever. Like, they're always working. This is a 365 day, whatever, a year job.
Yeah, no doubt.
So if anybody got any questions, we're gonna have Moser join us here in about 8 minutes. But if any people are arguing in my comments here. But, so Aaron Jones, you I think I'm not sure if I talked to you. So I think I have, but I don't think we really talked about the current team. We were most talking about history.
Right.
Are you to have him back? And do you expect the running game to take a dip with Jamal going to Detroit?
Yeah, so I love Aaron Jones. He's one of my favorite players on the team. I think he's he's obviously underappreciated. I mean, I assumed he was gone, like most people. I followed the money people, and they all said there's no way they can possibly keep him. So I said, all right, I guess he's gone. But I see him having a huge year. And I see A.J. Dillon. I mean, he was on the COVID list last year for like 5 or 7 weeks. Like, it was a long time. He's going to come back at full steam. And I think having Jones and Dillon as a tandem are going to extend both of their careers too. I think you're going to see both of them be fresh every week. I think the running game is going to be much, much better than it's been in a generation. They have the potential to have the best year probably since 2003 with Amon Green and Najee Davenport and Tony Fisher. You know, they were pretty dominant, but
I think Aaron Jones will be hungry.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people talking about when running backs get paid the next year, they're not as dynamic. I think he's got a lot to prove. I think he's going to be hungry. A.J. Dillon, I think, is going to be hungry. Jamal Williams was my guy. I love me some Williams, and I'll follow him over there in Detroit.
Yeah.
I wish him well, but I don't want him to win a lot. But
he won't. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's Detroit. They're not going to be doing a lot of winning anyways.
No.
But yeah, I think A.J. Dillon is special. I think most people think the same thing. I don't think I'm like, acting like an expert here. But I think the running game is going to be great. And if you give Rodgers a good running game, a lot of these receivers coming back, MVS is going to get better.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what they do in the draft. Adams, I heard some people talking about Adams is going to have a fall off year because how many touchdowns he had. I was like, yeah, he might not match that. That's ridiculous. Yeah. When people say that, but he ain't going to fall off.
No.
What he did last year is going to be hard to duplicate. I said the same Khalil Mack when he did this in Chicago when he first got there. The Smith Bros, when they first got here, what they did, it's hard. Dude, if you duplicated that every single year, you'd be in the Hall of Fame. Like
exactly, yeah, like exactly.
Those aren't Madden numbers. Like you're not going to do it every single, and maybe you will. I don't know. Yeah,
like a lot of those guys. Yeah, it's good to bring up the Hall of Fame. Like some of those guys had career years, and in order to get into the Hall of Fame, you have to have a career year almost every year. I mean. That's how hard it is to get into that or it's how hard it should be to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what it is. Like you have to have like at least most of your years. You can have some like down years, but like quarterback wise, they don't have like down years when like Rodgers down years are like better than most players regular years. But guys like Peyton, guys like Brady, like every year you know that they're in it because that they're there. And then same thing like with running back, like if you look at the list of running backs that are in the Hall of Fame, like they don't have like 1,000-yard seasons unless they got out due to injury. Yeah, like that's what the Hall of Fame is.
That's how it should be. And Adams, you want to talk about the Hall of Fame? He's got a chance. As weird as it is, like I'm uncomfortable like slotting guys in for a Hall of Fame just because I do respect that institution. Adams has a chance to make the Hall of Fame. And that's a heck of a compliment I could give someone. Like he's got a chance. It's unreal. And then you look at Aaron Jones. He probably doesn't have a chance. But you look at his yards per attempt. It's 5.2 yards per rush. That's one of the highest in NFL history, and he sustained it for 4 years.
Yeah, so, I think if McCarthy used him a little better early on, like who knows, like what would have happened, like his number wise. But yeah, like Devontae Adams, he's definitely on the road. Like
he's got a chance.
Yeah, and I don't see him falling off anytime soon. But yeah, like Devontae Adams definitely could. Like he's got to keep doing it. Like Larry Fitzgerald, guys like that, just every year they're putting him. Like Larry Fitzgerald is ridiculous because he played with some of the worst quarterbacks in his era.
Yeah,
people were just filtering in and out. Like he didn't even know who the quarterback was.
Right,
balls throwing.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, so we'll see. But I mean, I think I saw a comment that said that they perfectly pair together, talking about Dylan and Jones, and that is a perfect point. They are the classic like thunder and lightning. Like we always get like hung up on wanting that 1-2 punch, the brute, and then the speed. They're the most perfect combination of that sense. And again, this is hyperbolic, but since Jim Taylor and Paul Hornung. I mean, what other twosome has been that dynamic? I mean, they have the potential to be that. Not that, but they have the potential to be the best sense that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're not comparing them.
Yeah, no. Maybe in 5 years, 5 championships, maybe we'll start talking.
But yeah, I definitely think that they could be something special. Like,
yeah,
I like that you mentioned Tony Fisher earlier, because like like one of my biggest memories of Tony Fisher isn't even on the field. I remember him on the radio. I used to drive to work far ways, and I was listening to the radio, and he was they were interviewing him, and he was talking about how he never spent his money. He's like, I know what I am. He's like, I know what I am. He goes, I drive a regular SUV. I it's a nice little vehicle. He goes, I live in an apartment. He goes, I don't spend any of my money because I know I'm not gonna, long career. He's not, but he was such a good durable running back. I really liked him.
Yeah, he was the perfect third down back. He had the trust of the coaches to protect the Hall of Fame quarterback. He could catch passes out of the backfield. He would on a draw, he might just bust for a 15-yarder out of nowhere. Like he's exactly what you would want the third down back to be for Jones and Dylan. If they could find that third down back, that would be sweet.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, that's the great comment. Fisher always he sneakily got those third downs.
Yeah,
he was just a durable. He just is a guy that just got the job done.
Mm-hmm. He reminds me of Williams, Jamal Williams, a lot. But Williams is a little more accomplished runner and honestly probably a better pass catcher. But they had a lot of similarities in their game.
This is a great comment for you. They will be like the Jim Taylor, Paul Hornung, or Donnie Anderson and MacArthur Lane. It's hard for me to read this because I have it on the small screen.
Oh, sure. Yeah. MacArthur Lane and John Brockington. Yeah, that's a great poll too. A couple lean years heroes. Yeah, that's exactly right. But you can see how long it's been since they've had a duo like that. All 3 of those guys are from the early 70s and before. I mean, it's been a long time. They had Eddie Lacy and Eddie Lacy. That's a good comment, Mark. I guess the other one that would jump out to people is obviously Dorsey Levens and Edgar Bennett. But I mean, what's kind of weird about that is Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams put up better stats than them. I don't think many people would believe that, but it's true. They were more productive than Bennett and Levens when they were together. So,
yeah, I actually, but that kind of makes sense because Favre didn't want to run it.
He wanted to sling the ball, man.
Yeah, so yeah, he was slinging around. So yeah, but that Eddie Lacy comment, because dude, Eddie Lacy. A lot of people compare him, AJ Dillon now to Eddie Lacy in his prime. Dude, Eddie Lacy in his prime was so like he was just such a beast. Like, obviously didn't work out for him in the long run, but he was just so good that like season or two.
Yeah, I mean the fun factor with him was off the charts. Like he was worth tuning in just to watch him. I mean he was that much fun, and he would do that spin move. And he's just got he was just so large, yet he was nimble enough to like spin out of tackles and break tackles. I mean, it was a short prime, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's got like that Marshawn Lynch thing when they just had the ball and they're just like they run and they're just like bouncing down the field, and you can just see like anyone that's in front of them does not want any part of that. Right,
and guys love blocking for guys like that too. I mean that it kind of gets the whole offense juiced up.
Yeah, I think so because, like they used to talk about that for the Bears when they had Devin Hester returning kicks.
Yeah,
when a guy can do it, I think it almost gives you a little.
Sure.
A little more energy, we know if we block, this guy can actually do something with it.
Right.
So let me ask this before I let you go. I know that you got stuff to do. We got Josh Moser joining us soon. Talking about the Hall of Famers. David Bakhtiari. I know, like offensive linemen, for me to say whether offensive linemen should or shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, like I have no idea. I know a lot of it's going to be all pros. Excuse me. How many all pros during their career? What do you where do you rank Bakhtiari? You think he's on the right path?
Yeah. I think he needs 3 more seasons at his level, and he's in. I mean, he's right there. He's on the precipice of kicking in the Hall of Fame door. I think because he has so many all-pro seasons, like you said, it's got to be at this point between first team and second team. Without looking it up, it's got to be like at least 4, maybe more. That's pretty good in today's NFL. And then I think being the left tackle for a Hall of Fame quarterback also bolsters your case, whether it should or shouldn't. I think the fact that he keeps Rodgers' jersey clean, I think goes a long way, especially during MVP seasons. It goes a long way to kind of like bolstering his resume too. So he's probably the most likely to make the Hall of Fame on the entire team after Rodgers, right? He's got to be.
Oh yeah, he's definitely like the best in the league, and you've been hearing that he's the best in the league. Like I say, I'm not good with like judging offensive linemen because a lot of it just stats, like how many sacks, like how many guys got
tough, yeah.
Them, and like there's a lot of that goes into. But David Bakhtiari, you can just watch the game and see that like he's one of the best, and like he's got the injury. I haven't really heard anything. Like, is he going to be? Is he going to miss some time? Like maybe I can ask Moser if he ever shows.
Yeah, he might know. They're being, I think, more tight-lipped than about as tight-lipped as you'd expect them to be. I mean, they have no reason to tell anyone. My gut, and it would just be my gut, is that he misses the first month. But that's just me, the fan, maybe being kind of optimistic and being like, oh, he'll be back for October. No problem. I'm not sure. I hope.
Yeah, I have no idea either, but yeah, because I don't know. That was a rough injury. Like I think that's one of the reasons the Packers weren't playing in Super Bowl. I think that was huge and rather unfortunate. I know that you got to get going, so I appreciate you stopping by and talking some Packers with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Matt. I'm always down. So thanks.
All right, go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. See you, bud.
All right, so now I'm waiting to see if Josh Moser is going to join me. He's not here yet. Might be running a little bit late. Otherwise, I'm just going to wrap this thing up. I don't really have a much more to talk about, but I want to give a big shout out to the sponsor, Quick Trip. Thanks for sponsoring the show. I know it's not a very good show, but I appreciate you sponsoring. I think we have someone joining me. All right. We got Josh Moser. Check this out.
Yes.
Hey, I appreciate you joining me. I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe something came up. You're a busy guy, but I appreciate you taking the time to join me here.
I got you, brother. Always. Look at the little Miami sunset. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome to Miami. Welcome to the TV station in Miami.
Look at that. That's
yeah. Looks just like Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, just like Wisconsin. So how you been? Obviously, you're hanging out there by the water. I've seen your Instagram stories. It looks like you're just living your best life out there. I say it every time we talk, but it really does. I was like, I want to join you.
Hey, man, you got to come down and visit. Man, what's the best? I don't know how to explain it. I'm having some camera problems. There we go. That's what we need. It's a blessing. I mean, I feel very lucky to do what I do, and obviously spent 6 seasons covering the Packers. And it's funny. I was just looking on social media, and Jordy, Randall, James Jones, and Devontae all going on like a wine tasting trip, and I feel like Packers Nation's more excited that they went wine tasting than they did. So this is kind of funny. Kind of reminds you of how much love there is in Wisconsin for football. I mean, shoot, we got 4 pro teams. There's 3 pro teams playing tonight. Like, imagine if the Badgers were playing, the Brewers were playing, and the Bucks were playing, and the Packers were playing, like all in the same night. That's happening tonight in Miami, basically. The Marlins are playing, the Heat are playing, and the Panthers are playing the NHL team. They're in first place, and no one cares. Like, just no one cares. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that really is unbelievable to me because, like, yeah, I couldn't imagine because they're all like really, really close too, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything's right here, and the Marlins are playing the Braves. The Braves are the best team in the division. Panthers are in first place in their division, Heater playing tonight against the Suns, who are a good team on the West Coast. Like, you got 3 really good games, and everyone wants to sit out here and do what I'm doing right now. So I mean, I guess I can't blame them. But yeah, it's just different. It's just hopefully playoffs. I feel like that's when people will turn it on. What is it, like a bandwagon fair weather? Not like Green Bay, where they're just hanging on every word. Oh man, we need another cornerback. Kevin King's gonna get hurt again. That was a waste of $6 million. Should have gone the first round. We took him in the second. I still want TJ Watt. Like no one's talking like that down here.
So let me actually ask you a football question here. I can't find the exact comment, but I seen a lot of like the Broncos put out a thing with Players Union saying that they're not going to participate in OTAs. I think it is.
Yeah.
Does that affect the cap space? Because like a lot of Packer fans, that's what they care about is cap space.
No, it has no impact. The only thing that it could really rectify for the Packers and the way Russ Ball, who structures all the contracts, is they put in these workout bonuses. And essentially what these workout bonuses are is it forces players to come to Green Bay to collect their check. And they otherwise players aren't going to come to Green Bay until training camp. I mean, they're going to stay, and there's a lot of NFL players down here right now. They're going to go to warm weather. They're going to be with their families. So they got to collect that money, but it has no impact on the cap. It was just a way for the Packers to see their players, just to make sure they're in shape and to check in on them, during the off season, so that when training camp comes around, they, see them for the first time since February, and then be like, oh man, we got 6 weeks to get you ready. That's why they started doing that. But yeah, I mean the Broncos. I covered the Broncos for 2 years when I was at KUSA in Denver, right when they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning in 2016 when Levi Stadium first opened. You can't blame them. I mean, as I said, the rates are really high right now, and COVID is a real thing. I had COVID personally. Luckily, it was asymptomatic. But, it's everybody has a different situation. When you have little kids at home who are not vaccinated, it's different. So you've got to listen to your players, and I like that the players stuck together collectively to say no. I saw David Bakhtiari, said something. And we'll see what happens. Killer, missed you as well. Thanks for tuning in. But you got to listen to the players. And
I totally agree. Like I think any player that decides, like, even like last year when the players decided to opt out, whatever, like if everyone's got to do for them. I ain't mad at nobody. And I think even if the players were just trying to get out of like some workouts, they'd rather do it alone. Like I don't mind that either. Like if they want to use it.
Did you see what Gronk did last year? Gronk had the best story every year. Gronkowski just down with the Buccaneers, and he had to show proof that he was running sprints every day, staying in shape. So what he did was he just brought like 8 different shirts and then did the sprints all in one day and kept changing the shirts. And then he sent 1 video a day. And I love it. I think it's hilarious.
And that's genius.
I love it.
I'm not sure that, and they didn't mind because I know that came out during the season, I think.
Oh yeah, but I mean, look, these guys are working hard, but we're not even to May yet. Like we haven't even gotten to the NFL draft here. There's still plenty of time, but it's a business, and teams want what they want.
So I think I asked you this last time, but I'm gonna ask you again, and I'm not gonna keep you long because I see that you're out there on, out the water having some good times. Maybe you're working.
I'm good, man.
Yeah,
always
working.
Time for the people of Wisconsin, and more importantly, you.
Hey, I appreciate it. So, with the draft coming up, Packer fans they're very rational, they're very calm people. They don't overreact ever. Where do you see the Packers going, like first 3 rounds? Like early on, you see him at corner, linebacker. Like, what are you thinking?
Let's see here. Well, I can tell you that Gutekunst really says that he believes that NFL teams are made with big guys that can move. So you're always looking at your offensive and your defensive line. You need a corner, absolutely, but it just depends on how the board falls. I saw a lot of Packers fans saying they want Asante Samuel Jr., and he's from Miami. I actually just spoke to him on the phone the other day. Played at Florida State, the real DBU, according to Deion Sanders, and they got a lot of pedigree out of there. But he's an undersized guy. He's built like Jair, and that's why I think Kevin King works, is because he's that rangy guy that can put on a big receiver like a Julio Jones, like the Calvin Johnsons of the past, like the AJ Green in his prime, and I'm going to Jamar Chase with the 6th overall pick over Devontae Smith, even though Tua is here in Miami. But you can never get Aaron Rodgers too many weapons. And Devontae's got to get an extension. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle this cap space. But you also need pass rushers, and you need big guys that can move. Corey Linsley is a big loss. Like, I don't care how I know Elton Jenkins can slide over. He's a huge loss. So you always want to protect your most valuable asset, and that's a quarterback, whether that's Rodgers in 3 years or if that's Jordan Love. But you've got to go a big guy that can move. You need a corner that can defend on an island, and you really need a linebacker. This team's been missing a middle linebacker for so long. I think if there's someone available in the draft, on that slot, that's someone that I would really, really look for. But other than that, I mean, they're still pretty much set. And I love Bobby Tonyan. I think he did a great job. And then trying to think of what else they need. I haven't really been paying too close attention. I've been focused now on the Dolphins. But look, you made it to the NFC Championship game. You're 13-3, and now we're talking about a 17-game season. You're adding a game, so you want to find as much depth as you can. But you need guys on the outside that can defend, so that you can shut those guys, so that your Zadarius Smiths can get to the quarterback. I mean, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I definitely. But before I let you go, I want to ask you about this man right here, Aaron Rodgers doing Jeopardy. And notice the technology I got going on here.
Look at this. What favorites you got there? A little Gmail, Twitter, got your own Facebook page. Ooh.
But yeah. So Aaron Rodgers doing Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Have you been watching? What do you think?
I think he's doing a really nice job. He's definitely very Aaron. I mean, you can totally see his dry sense of humor. What people really don't realize, it's on for 2 weeks, but Aaron actually taped all the episodes in 2 days. So you do 5 episodes a day, and you can see that he's getting better. It's funny, is someone that does this professionally and wants to be a host and host, for a living. He has no movement through his eyes. Like, he's just very locked in. It's almost like the quarterback Aaron Rodgers, and then his mouth moves. So, I mean, there's small things, but I love when he actually, gets to, be himself. And there was a comment with the Reno 911, he liked the show. He could comment on that. But of course, everybody talking about Final Jeopardy. Aaron, you could see his mind churning. When he saw it's hey, who decided to kick the field goal? He just kind of took a step back, and you could see in his mind, he's like, what can I say here that I can't get in trouble with? And, but I just want a real reaction. It's just good question. Give me some emotion, give me some energy, get people excited about watching Jeopardy. But I think he's gotten a lot better, obviously, and he's very good at reading. Hasn't stumbled on any questions, and that's very hard to do. And you don't know what it's like to be in a studio like that. So I commend him. He hasn't done anything like that before, and it's interesting. I've seen the show. They've been giving him more publicity than Katie Couric or any of the other hosts. So I know that he really likes to do it. I caught him on that Instagram Live with his fiance for a little while, and he seems like he really loved it. But the quarterback, the man that gives the small business, the Jeopardy host, what can't this man do? He's your QB1.
Yeah, come on now. There's nothing he can't do. So let me ask you this one last Aaron Rodgers
question. I got time.
Yeah. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be the Packers quarterback, you think, after this next season? That's what everyone's talking about.
Well, the way that they structured the contract originally is that there's an out after this next season. So play this year, and then it's 2022. So I'm curious to see what happens here. I don't know if Matt, did you see the anonymous agent that came out that said he was talking to Goody, and Goody had reached out to a player that says, hey, we like your guy, but we don't have cap space right now until something big gets done. So I don't know if that's alluding to Rodgers' contract. I don't know if that's a Devontae Adams extension, but honestly, Aaron knows that he has all the power right now, and he just won the MVP. He should be able to name his price, rightfully so. I think Devontae Adams should be able to name his price. I think he should be the top paid wide receiver in the league after what he did last year. 99 on a Madden. I mean, he was undoubtedly the top receiver in the league. So, but then you're talking about 2 guys, realistically that could command $60 to $65 million of the cap for one season, $40 million for Rodgers, and 20 to 25 for Devontae. So it's hard to build around that, but the cap should go up. They have that big deal, the TV rights that they just signed, so that should give them more money. So with agents, there's Drew Rosenhaus down here. I've talked to him a lot, and he's telling his players to wait because the salary cap's going to go up, and then they should be able to make more money. But then they've got to make sure that they don't get hurt here this season, and especially with 17 games, there's a lot of unknown with that extra game and what that can do without an extra bye week. But I would say if Aaron Rodgers gets paid, he will stay in Green Bay. However, we saw what happened with Brett Favre. We just saw what happened with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. I think this could be Aaron's last season, and or you deal Jordan Love. Maybe Aaron plays really well again, and you're just like, hey, we're trading Jordan Love for a first-round pick. I don't know if you get a first-round pick. He hasn't played yet, so I'm curious to see. But yeah, Brady's still playing, and Rodgers says he's got more years in him, and if you protect him, that's the big thing. But I would love to see Aaron Rodgers play. I'd be curious. I can't imagine the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what that looks like. Or Favre. You've had two quarterbacks that are Hall of Famers for the last 20 years, 20 plus years, 30 years. That doesn't happen. So
no.
Look what happened to the Broncos. We were talking about them earlier. They had Peyton Manning in 2016, and they've had the most starting quarterbacks in the league since then. I think it's 10, and they haven't figured it out. It's been 5 years. So it's tough.
Yeah, when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, they have to figure out what they're gonna do and make a decision. If they're gonna I can't imagine that they're gonna pick Jordan Love over Rodgers unless Jordan Love is showing something spectacular. And I get there's a lot of money that goes into it too, but
sure.
Dude, Rodgers, you can't just let him go if he's
right. I can tell you last year they were really high on Jefferson, the wide receiver out of LSU that ended up with Minnesota and made a Pro Bowl. I know they really, really wanted him, but why not trade up and go get him? Minnesota went up and got him. That's the guy you should have gotten. I'm not saying anything on Jordan Love. He hasn't played. He's a young kid, but you get Jefferson. I think you're not. You could be there. You could be there.
It won't be happening.
Yeah, it's just that, how much do you want to invest to go all in now versus, the sustained success of making the playoffs, but never making it back to the Super Bowl. And that's been the gripe for years. That's the Russ Ball, tight wallet stuff. That's the Goody mentality. They'll tell you to take the best player available on the board. But they've drafted well, recently. So we'll see. I hope. People love the offensive players because of fantasy football. That's how everybody gets to know their name. But this team needs to get better on defense. And, I'm curious to see what happens in this draft. But knowing Goody, they'll probably trade down in the second round again and get a couple extra picks. And especially with that cap room, that's huge. So, for example, for the Dolphins, they had the 3rd overall pick. And they eventually made 2 trades, but now they're at the 6th overall pick. So just by moving back 3 spots, they saved themselves more than $1 million on the cap for this year. So Packers fans worried about the cap, that's a factor that you have to put in because these draft picks, they're going to make $8 to $10 million. And if you have that $8 to $10 million to give to somebody else who's actually going to play, look what happened with the Packers last year. You had pretty much the top 3 draft picks played sparingly, A.J. Dillon a little bit at the end, but Kamal Martin was hurt most of the year. I don't know. That's the $1 million question. That's why there's the GMs, and I'm just a sportscaster. So
I have no idea.
It gets dicey. It gets interesting.
It's gonna be so interesting to see what happens. With me, I'm just trying to focus on this next season. I know it might get scary for the Packers after that. A lot of with Rodgers and see what happens. But for me, I just want to focus on next season because I know Rodgers is going to be here this season. People are talking about trades and this and that. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah, actually, question for you. What's up with, now that Tim's over with the Lions, Jamal Williams over with the Lions? How's Packers Nation feeling about that? They feel betrayed?
No, I don't think so because most people that I've talked to or even seen people talk about it is everyone's rooting for Jamal. How could you not root for him?
Yeah, that's great.
Loyal too. I've told Lion fans, dude, this dude's gonna take over. He's gonna be QB1, and Jamal's gonna come in. I know that they got some players over there too, but Jamal, he's gonna make that team better. I think any team he's on, I think he makes the locker room better. He's a good player, but even not in the player sense, I think everyone seems happy around him. You've heard other players say it, like he helps jack him up. So I think that
See,
dude,
but that's a guy they need in the locker room. Like they need like an AJ Hawk type guy, like someone that can like rally the team, especially on defense. Like I want that guy that's just going to come in and be a playmaker and just change the culture. Like that's the guy that I want to see the Packers go and draft. Like go get that fun young kid like Jair Alexander did. I mean, like it helps so much, and you need that. So where are they picking at? Are they at what 30?
I think
29,
it's
30.
I think it's 29.
Yeah. So, maybe they'll trade down. Who knows?
I agree. Like with Jair, and even when they went and got Zadarius Smith, I love the Zadarius Smith energy. How he's just screaming and
Yeah,
he pumps everyone up. Like I love that. Like Jair, like he's got just so much swag. Like it's ridiculous.
you need guys like that. Like you need some confident guys that can play on the island. Jair, I hope he's an All-Pro this year. I think he's got the talent to do it. I hope Preston has a big year. I think Kenny Clark has, been solid. I'm curious to see on this offensive line what they do. Happy Mercedes Lewis is back. Guy just doesn't age. So yeah, it's a good crew. I miss it, to be honest with you. I really do, and I miss doing Inside the Huddle, and I miss, just chatting with the Packers fans, and it's always a good time chatting with you. And it's snowing in Minnesota. It's probably freezing here in a sweatshirt. This though is kind of hard to beat. I'm sorry.
No, it is. It's this because I've seen someone comment up here, and then they'll let you go. How's that golf game going?
What's up, Mark? Golf game's actually pretty good. Except the courses down here, they're so expensive for what they are. You guys have Thornberry Creek, which is great. Green Bay Country Club is awesome. Obviously, Kohler, where the Ryder Cup's going to be. I love Sand Valley and the Nakusa area. I love Century World, was phenomenal. But I shot a 76 the other day. So I kind of got to get it down to about a 73, 74. And then just watching the Masters, you get a bug. I mean, you just want to play so much. That course is unbelievable. But I miss my golf crew in Wisconsin. Grant Aubrey, if you're watching, owns Mr. Golf in Wisconsin. Go see him. Phenomenal golfer, gives lessons, has clubs, and he's got some plugs to some pretty great courses too, by the way. But yeah, that was the best summer of my life this last year in Green Bay. That was played so much golf. The cart at Thornberry Creek, it was like $200, and then every round's $30. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I actually thought about starting golf like every year. Actually, one year I bought golf clubs.
Go to the range. Yeah, just go to the range, hit a couple balls, have some beer, putt a few. Devontae Adams has been playing a lot of golf. Rogers is a good golfer. Mason Crosby's like a 2 handicap. He's really good. It's just a good time to be out in the sun with the boys. Leave the wives at home. Leave the dog at home. Go enjoy yourself for a few hours, and just tell the missus golf takes 8 hours, so you can get a little bit extra time to sober up.
You need to. All right, hey, I appreciate you, and hey, this year I want to start. I know that you're doing like a fantasy football show that you were doing last year when you first got to Miami.
Yeah.
Doing that again?
Yeah, I think so. We've got some things in the works. Here, I'll give you guys a little. I'm gonna flip this real fast. Camera. Oh, sorry, killed it. I'm just gonna turn it around. So we have this like big space back here. So kind of want to do it like that NFL set, put down some turf and do a football show. So that'd be sweet. But yeah, obviously fantasy focus. If anybody wants to play in some fantasy football leagues, do that all the time. And I think the future of sports journalism is betting and all of these shows we're seeing with betting lines. And not that I would give any recommendations to listen to what I have to do to make some cash, but with the NBA doing all that, the NFL, my buddy's company, Sports Genius, they're now the data partnership with the NFL for all of their betting lines, and they're doing some cool stuff. So it's changing. It's going to be like live betting, coin tosses, all this stuff. And Miami's crazy. They love that stuff down here. So a little bit different than Wisconsin, but definitely nobody like Packers Nation. And yeah, we'll have to do some fantasy football, anything football related. Come on, this is great. This is why we do this.
Exactly. I got out of fantasy football. I think next year I'm gonna get back into it. It's been a while because I wanted to leave on top. I won like the whole Super Bowl.
Am I allowed to curse on here?
No.
Not allowed to? You just got to do a lot of trash talking. Like that's the whole point of fantasy football. You just trash talk your friends, which you're great at. crush a couple beer cans on your head, and then whoever's in last place that week or loses, you got to make them do some stupid task. Like, I've been in a fantasy football league with my high school friends for like 20 years now, and it's great. And you bring people together. It doesn't matter where you are. You can do Zoom stuff like this, and you get the draft going, and it gives you a reason to stay in touch and have fun and meet new people. And it's see if everybody in Wisconsin takes Aaron Rodgers in the first round, so that's always fun. But yeah, you got to do it. You got to enjoy it. You got to have some fun, and hopefully you can get a couple players to do it. One last quick story: the Packers used to play fantasy football, and that was until Clay Matthews stopped playing for them. So Clay was the fantasy football organizer for the Packers for the league. So for the players that don't say they don't, play fantasy football, they do. Alan Lazard is one that plays. Get Clay Matthews back so you can get the players-only fantasy football league, and that'd be a fun text message.
You, dude, I think you're breaking up here a little bit, but yeah, I've heard about some players talking about that back in the day about the players fantasy football. I think we're losing Josh here. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. That's it for us today. Go Pack, go. Big shout out to Josh Moser. Oh, I think he's back. Yeah, I think you're back now.
Hello? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I appreciate you joining me, Josh. Daniel Zillmer from Pack.com. Go Pack, go, everybody.